This meeting of the Watuppa Water Board will come to order. Mr. Thurman, roll call, please.
President Pearson,
Present.
Member Ferrera,
Present?
Member Terrio.
Present.
The open meeting law reads as follows. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. All three members of the Watuppa Water Board participating in the March 10th, 2021 meeting remotely. I, President Robert Pearson, Member Christopher Ferrera, and Member James Terrio are all participating remotely. Mr. Thurman, the agenda, please.
Excellent, thank you. Item number one would be citizens' input. Due to the COVID-19, essential services advisory citizens' input may be submitted to water@fallriverma.org by March 10th, 2021 at 3:30. Checking that email earlier, we did not have any citizens' input.
Nope.
Item number two on the meeting is minutes of the previous meeting of January 21st, 2021.
Is there a motion to waive the reading of the minutes?
Make a motion.
Second?
Motion passes unanimous. Roll call on the motion, Mr. Thurman?
President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrer,
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Mr. Thurman, next item on the agenda, please.
Next item on the agenda would be leak abatements. Within your packet, there was leak abatements. Also listed on the agenda is the addresses and the amounts of the leak abatements. All the ones that were proposed to you did qualify through the leak abatement policy, and credits will be issued once if the board approves. The total being issued this quarter is this meeting is $4,416.46.
Is there a motion to,
Motion to approve the abatements as listed.
Seconded.
motion passes unanimous. Mr. Thurman, next item on the agenda.
If I could just interrupt,
Roll.
Roll
Wait a
call.
minute, Mr. Thurman. Mr. Ferrera?
Roll.
I'm sorry, if we could finish this roll call, but then go back to the minutes quickly before we get too far ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so roll call vote on item number three, the abatements. President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrera,
Yes?
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Okay.
Discussion on the abatements?
No, not on the abatements, on the minutes of last month's meeting. You had asked for a motion to waive the reading, and we approved that, but we did not, the motion was not to approve the minutes as they were written. So maybe we should ask for if the president would ask for a motion and we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
As they were written?
Correct, just in case.
All right, so be it. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as they were read and written?
Yes.
I'd second that.
Okay.
That motion is unanimous.
So this is for item number two, the minutes, approval of the minutes.
That is correct.
Meeting of January 21st, 2021.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. A roll call vote on that. President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrera,
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Furley?
Next item would be item number four, abatement denial. I included this in your packet. This was a request for abatement by Board in Remington, 63 Water Street within Fall River. They asked for an abatement. They did not comply with the leak abatement policy or any other abatement policies that we have in place. At that point, I administratively denied them for their abatement. They feel that they do not agree with the denial of the abatement and would like to appeal to the appellate state tax board. I put this in the meeting for reference for the board, plus also for approval of my denial and to move forward as needed to deny their appeal. Their appeal is based on a water bill that was issued to them in the amount of $21,328, and that was for account number 17815. This bill is based on water that went through the meter. We had estimated readings for a number of years. When we were able to get an actual reading, we billed for those. I did try to work with the property owner prior to them turning to legal recourse to get proper billings, and then they referred the matter to their lawyers, and that's when it came into effect. So I would ask the board just if a vote for the approval of the administrative denial that I sent, as well as my approval to continue to move forward to move this matter forward as needed. If there's any abatement needed or any vote by this committee, it will come back to the committee. So that's kind of.
Are there any questions from members of the board? Hearing
The
none,
only question I have is they were asked to provide their estimate of when the water passed through the meter,
Yeah,
and they failed to respond to that.
they did respond to it. I did send them a proposed adjustment, which reduced the bill based on their estimate of when the water went through the meter, but they did not accept that. They are still feeling that they do not need to pay the bill or any bill.
the president of the board will make a motion to accept Mr. Furlan's recommendation of denial. Is there a
Seconded.
second to the motion? There is. Roll call on that, Mr. Furlan, please.
President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrer,
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent,
Furlan,
thank you.
next item on the agenda, please.
The next item on the agenda is in relation to an open meeting law complaint that was filed by Colin Dias. This was in relation to the last meeting that was had on January 21st. The open meeting law complaint reads on January 21st, the Fall River Watuppa Water Board held a public meeting on Zoom. The Watuppa Water Board violated the open meeting law during this meeting by 1, violating open meeting law by placing a false meeting location on the meeting agenda, as there is no meeting at City Hall in Fall River. This creates confusion for the public. 2, violating open meeting law section 20, approving several abatements, which cost taxpayers several $1,000s. Under item 3, the Water Board January 21st meeting agenda item number 3 was too vague to be contemplated with the law, and the public could not easily understand what is being discussed. I have drafted a response, which was included in your packet. I believe that we were in compliance on item number 1. Item number 2, as you can see on this, the complainant says that it costs the tax dollars, the abatements cost the taxpayers money, which is incorrect. It does not cost taxpayers anything. All of our funding comes from ratepayers of the water rates or sewer rates. And as you can see on the agenda this time, we listed the addresses of the abatements and the amounts.
Mr. Furlan, thank you for all the work you do on that matter.
Not a problem.
Are there any comments from the members of the board? Hearing none,
Again, I would recommend, just if the board would like, that they recommend for myself to the Administrator of Community Utilities to respond to the open meeting law complaint.
Chair would make a motion to accept the report from Mr. Furlan just the way he said it. Is there a second to the motion?
Yes, seconded.
Motion is unanimous. Mr. Furlan, next item on the agenda, please.
Just roll call vote on item number 5. President Pearson,
Yes,
Member Ferrera,
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent.
and now we can move on to the next item on the agenda.
Next item on the agenda is Phase 21 loan order. Phase 21 loan order is in the amount of $4,875,000. What's included within what's proposed to be included within Phase 21 is about $2.5 million worth of water main replacement. Wilson Road Pump Station. So up on Wilson Road, we're looking to redo the sewer pump station that's on Wilson Road that feeds the industrial park. We'd like to also use within that same building, put in a water pumping station as a secondary booster station for the high service area in the industrial park. That station would be a redundant to the one that's over on Commerce Drive. Right now, we have a weak point in our system that if the main anywhere on North Main Street is turned off, then the Commerce Drive booster pump station would be stopped for water, and we would have to mobilize with our mobile pump unit. This would give us redundancy and protection and additional flow for additional development that's occurring up within that area. So that's the overall. We did carry some funding in there for paving of streets as well. The streets that are proposed to be done underneath Phase 21 would be Charlotte Street from New Boston Road to President Ave, Ray Street from New Boston Road to Cypress, President Ave from Highland Ave to Garden, Robeson to Garden, Garden to Ray, Ray to Chestnut, and then Chestnut to Ellsbury. So essentially the whole entire stretch all the way from Ellsbury up to President Ave. There's some areas where it's different size mains or jumps up and down. Moody Street, which is a dead end off of Atlantic Boulevard, Sonnet, which is a dead end off of Atlantic Boulevard, Byron, Duke, and Pembroke, again, all dead ends off of Atlantic Boulevard. We'd also like to do Atlantic Boulevard from Pembroke to Tidal, as well as Weedamo Street from North Main to Highland Avenue. These streets have been previously designed underneath majority of them have been surveyed and designed underneath other projects and have been cut from the project for one reason or another, whether it's to do with other utility issues out in the area, paving, or other circumstances that we weren't able to go in the year that they were designed. So they've kind of been sitting on the shelf. This would be looking for a cleanup year to try to get some of these out of the way.
So Furlan, question on your report, please.
Yes.
As the people travel up and down our streets, and I am only one of them, but I do hear from people, the snake-like effect that's being done on our streets, that is not by us, is it not? So you see blacktop that looks like a snake ran across the street. It is all over North Main and every street I travel.
So there's multiple different utility projects happening within the city with different utility divisions. Water department, we have water main replacement. Our typical restoration is for us to do our water main project one construction season, let it sit through a thaw freeze cycle, so a winter cycle, and then patch in the spring. The gas company is doing work throughout the whole entire city. They have a little bit more flexibility in how their main can be run. So sometimes their patches can be a little bit not aligned as much, since they're using HDP fused pipe rather than a cast iron or steel pipe. But the DCM and the engineering department oversees them and their restoration that's required. So there is a lot of construction going on underground within the city. I know we always try to do as well of a patching job as we can. We've come a long way. We leave it sit for a freeze thaw cycle. In this past year, we'll be milling from the curb all the way out fully past the water main patch. So when we mill and redo our water main project from last year, almost a third of the street will be new, milled and overlaid where we do our water main. But some of the other areas, gas company again does have a protocol with DCM and the engineering department on their rehabilitation of the streets.
I don't mean to confuse the issue, but I believe it's the gas company that's using, and correct me if I'm wrong, do they not use the bullet approach where you dig a hole inside the street and send through a hydraulic? They call it a bullet, and sometimes it comes up God knows where. Is that not what I'm seeing when I see this snake-like effect?
Not necessarily. No, the bullets typically only work for services. We occasionally use them, but those typically only work for smaller mains or services. Where you see a patch that's again not straight, they have some flexibility to go around other utilities, manholes, catch basins, and stuff like that. They have more flexibility with their method of pipe that they use over the method of pipe that we use. So sometimes that gives them the ability to move around within the street.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I hope people who call me, they call Council Pereira, Council Pelletier, and others, and we give them the best explanation we can, but I think you've clarified it. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Is there a motion required?
Yes, so the motion would be to approve the Phase 21 loan order.
I have one question, Paul. In Phase 21, we're replacing 64 lead services. Just a ballpark figure on how many we have left?
So we have just under 700 left within the city.
That's amazing.
Yeah, without a doubt. As you know, we track that through our LSLR. So our lead service report, it was just issued by the department to DEP as a requirement of our consent order from DEP to remove 7% of our lead services per year.
Outstanding.
So, Mr. Furlan, are we about 3/4 of the way done with our replacing of mains? I know it'll be ongoing always, but.
So we've replaced roughly about 60 miles so far of mains. We probably have about of old tuberculated mains. We probably still have about 35 miles left of tuberculated mains. Once that's complete, we have larger cast iron mains within the city that have been cleaned in line back in the 70s, but those were all installed in the late 1800s. Again, dealing with an aging infrastructure, we try to preserve it and continue the use of it as much as possible.
So it's hard to give a percentage.
Yeah. Yep. So, and with the lead services too, just to touch a little bit more, they are changing the regulations um, as far as lead services and tracking of lead services. And we expect within the next year that there will be different requirements from DEP moving forward.
Is there a motion on the phase completion?
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion is seconded.
So just for the record, this is approval of the Phase 21 loan order in the amount of 4,700,000, excuse me, 4,875,000.
Correct.
4,000,078. 4.78.
I just noticed on the agenda was a typo. If you go to the, what was distributed with the packet, it was 4.5 million. I do apologize for that typo.
So could I have that corrected amount, Paul? I'm sorry.
Yes, so the amount for the Phase 21 load order is $4,875,000.
I would then make a motion to approve $4,875,000 for Phase 21 Water Main Improvements Project.
Second,
Motion passes unanimous.
Roll call vote, President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrera,
yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Earl, next item on the agenda, please.
So the next item on the agenda, I will share my screen again. So the next item on the agenda is the Water Maintenance Complex Project. As board members know, we've been working on getting the funding together, and we've been designing the new water maintenance complex up to replace our current building at 1620 Bedford Street. We did go out to bid for this project. We received bids. The low bidder was Mill City Construction. The low bid amount was $8,141,715. This is, again, for replacement of the water maintenance building up at 1620.
Mr. Phil, in question, some
Yeah.
time ago when we met with the architects, did we not get an estimate from them that they thought this project could cost 3 to 4 million? Because the estimates I'm seeing here are at least double.
So the estimates that we received as the project developed, initially when we went into this project 4 years ago, when we went in real early development, we were thinking it was going to be about $6.5 million. As we developed the building and the site, dealing with some of the site constraints, elevation changes, the amount of fill that needs to be brought in, dealing with the known ledge that's on the site, the numbers did escalate a bit. So the final estimate that was done by the estimator, once final plans were completed, was $8.2 million. So this did come in right at, my hope was that we were going to be under that, but the actual bids did come in right on estimate.
I know building materials, everything has gone up, but it seems a bit astronomical. But I'll listen to any motion from the board. Oh,
Again, it is a very expensive. It is a very expensive cost, and I did look at this building after the bids came in, and I did look at doing some value engineering or redesigning, and possibly rebidding, just because of the overall cost of the building. But the only way really to start to get the price down was to start to cut square footage and needed equipment within the building. Moving forward, I've always been one that if we're going to do something, we should be doing it correctly. We have money that has been allocated within our phase 18, 19, and 20 for this project. So we will be using that money. A portion of this building is being paid for from the sewer department, as they'll be storing their Vector trucks in this building in a heated garage. So there's currently the sewer department pays for winter storage of our Vector trucks in rented space. We will not need to rent that space anymore. We'll be storing them within this building. So the additional funding that was needed above what we originally proposed will be using up some funding from some old water authorizations where those projects are pretty much closed, and there's additional funding available within those. That's something that the city council has been looking to be done, is use up old authorizations to be able to close them out. So we're able to track the funding and get the funding for this project.
Mr. Furlan, question, please.
Yes.
If we were to vote as a board and we need 2 votes to say no to this project, would we not have to wait a whole year to go out to bid again?
No, to rebid this project, we would have to go back, re-engineer everything. It would cost us roughly about $50,000 in changing of the designs, plus the rebidding cost.
But if we didn't change the design,
If we didn't change the design, we could go right back out to bid. I don't feel that we would get any better numbers than what we currently have. I feel that these numbers are within the realm of what the project's worth, based on the estimates prior to it, based on the closeness of the numbers, based on the market right now. I have heard market-wide that there are good prices out there for building construction, and I feel that this is a fair price for what this building entails.
does this include the tearing down of the old building?
Yes. So if you want, I can walk you through the building itself, through the renderings that were done and the site plan that was done.
I don't know that Mr. Terrio has a rendering.
Yeah, so up on the screen, I think everybody can see my screen, hopefully. So this is a rendering looking pretty much from the corner of Bedford Street and Stonehaven. Take out all the trees and we'll level with the building looking up at it. This is what customers will drive up to. The front area of the building will be set first floor primarily for all administrative, training room, lunchroom, and locker rooms for the staff. The back 2/3 of the building will be set up for vehicle storage and vehicle maintenance. But this is just a rendering from what the front of the building would look like. Looking at this is the elevations going around the building. So the one at the top would be if you're standing on the west side of the building, facing the building, that's what you would see. So if you're standing on Stonehaven Road facing the building, that would be the view that you see. The one directly below that would be if you're standing on the east side of the building, looking at the building. So essentially, this is the back side of the building, the side that faces would be facing the North Watuppa Pond. Down the bottom, you have south elevation on the left-hand side. That's the side that would be facing Bedford Street. And the right-hand side is the north-facing elevation that faces Diamond's parking lot. As you can see, the building, the front half, this area over here, would be administrative on the first floor with storage and expansion space available on the second floor level. This first bay here will be for hydrant storage and hydrant repair on one side and small tool storage on the other side of the building. This bay here will be the mechanics bay straight through the building. These 3 bays here are for vehicle and equipment storage. And this last bay is the vehicle wash bay.
So we are sticking with all the bays that were originally designed. And I remember the architect saying they may do away with one.
So again, the only way to cut money out of this project was to cut square footage.
Mhm.
The wash bay is a requirement of the federal MS4 permit, municipal small stormwater system, small sewer stormwater system permit that's issued by the EPA. So any municipal building that's in an MS4 area, which is a separated drainage area, which this does, needs to have a separate wash bay for vehicles to be washed in. You can't just wash them outside anymore. So the wash bay really couldn't be cut. Start cutting storage bays. You're taking away the purpose, one of the main purposes of the building, which is to get a lot of our equipment out of the rain and out of the out of the weather conditions. This is
Question.
Go ahead.
This appears to be further forward than the existing maintenance building. Will we be utilizing the maintenance building while this is under construction?
Yep. So the maintenance building sits right in this area over here.
Yeah.
So we'll be utilizing the existing maintenance building within the construction documents. We have it phased where we'll still be able to work out of the existing maintenance building
Excellent.
for the year or so while this is under construction.
Mhm.
We'll still be using this. We didn't want to change the curb cuts coming in from Reservoir Stonehaven. The neighbors were pretty adamant about not changing our curb cuts or adding any more entrances. So we worked with the neighbors on that. We're leaving this entrance here as a customer only entrance to be able to access the front of the building in the customer area only. We'll have a utility gate here and here blocking off so our regular traffic can't go through here. All of our access in for our daily workers, as well as all of our heavy construction equipment, backhoes, dump trucks, and stuff will be through our existing Bedford Street access. We're going to be doing a control access motorized gate there. So it'll come up, scan your card, the gate will open during normal working hours. Most likely the gate will be open during the day. But to access that, you'll be using this area, and this runs right through where the existing building is. Majority of our activities will take place in the rear of the building. The front area of the building over here will only be for vehicles to drive out of the building and drive around into the back. That's the shield from the neighborhood.
The existing, I'm going to call it the garage area in back of the tanks. You plan on raising that, and what's the plan for the grounds?
So currently at this, in this contract, we're not raising that building. We're going to be leaving it in place. Overall plan is to decommission the heating system water into that building, potentially use it as a cold storage. Through an evaluation process, there was just some concerns with raising that building, and gives us an option to be able to take some of our stuff that doesn't need to be in a heated space to at least get it under shelter for now. So we will be leaving that, but it'll be the heating system and all overall expenses, water, sewer, that'll all be decommissioned within the building.
Excellent.
Mr. Terrell, for your information, this has been going on now for almost 2 years. And I fought long and hard, and I use that term very loosely. But we did discuss the raising of that, what I call mechanic shed. But once we get away with the water out of there and the heating system, we could possibly use that for a number of things, but I'm sure Mr. Furlong's on top of. But it could be a place to store sand, blacktop, that currently is out of doors, which leads to cat litter and on and on and on. So my hope is that we keep that building for quite a while and hopefully one day maybe have Diamond do some work on it. Just for your information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just on the next slide here, again, this is a cutaway of what the interior of the building will look like. The left-hand side here is primarily office spaces for our admin, for the director, GIS staff, supervisors, all over here. The center of the building here in the tan area is the locker rooms, men and women's locker rooms and facilities for our staff. The light blue area in the back here is a break room for our staff to be able to use to have their lunches. This area over here is a training room facility where when we're having trainings or meetings with all of our staff, we'd be able to go in there, have a screen in there to be able to do presentations to the staff. So that's kind of the admin area in the front. This center section right through here has offices for our mechanic, backflow inspector, water meter, repair shop. This is a small parts storage room. This is a small tool storage area. Over here we have storage for fluids, hydraulic oils, motor oils, those types of fluids in a contained room. And then we have a hydrant repair area over here. As I said before, this bay right in here, that's going to be the mechanic's auto bay. So that'll be where our mechanic will make repairs. This large area over here is going to be open for vehicle storage and equipment storage. It's expected that we'll be able to get the majority of our equipment out of the majority of our equipment out of the weather. So this whole area, all this bays off of the east side of the building will have an open overhang off that side of the building, which will provide additional storage to be able to park vehicles underneath there to at least get them out of the harsh weather from overhead. This last bay here is the wash bay, which will also double as vehicle storage, but this has catwalks on either side for our staff to be able to safely go up to be able to wash out our truck beds and other things.
Mr. Phil, you may have covered it. If you did, I missed it. We are in compliance with all the OSHA standards.
Yeah, so through the design process, these plans did have an OSHA review as we go through the project. And typically when I conclude a project, I have a safety consultant come in and run through OSHA compliance to make sure that everything is good. I want to make sure that our staff is doing, I've been doing that with sewer projects that we've been doing, the sewer pump stations, and I'd be doing the same with this building as well.
With your attention to detail, I'm sure you covered it, but there is bathroom and shower facilities for both sexes.
Yeah, so this tan area in the center here, this upper section is the men's locker room, as well as shower facilities and restrooms. This area over here is the women's locker room, shower facility and restroom.
And for storage of, let's say, old paperwork, things like that, is there an area for that overhead, I believe?
Yep, so this whole area over here where all the admin area is in this the center area will have a full second floor to it. The second floor right now is slated, I can go to the next slide. So this shows the second floor. We'll have a mechanical room on the second floor, which will house the boilers, some of our computer equipment and some other stuff in the mechanical room. But then we have this second floor open for storage of parts or future expansion for additional staff as needed.
Is there dual air conditioning for the office side and the mechanical side, or they're all one?
So there's individual air handling units down on the first floor for the admin area. The admin area will be air conditioned with hydronic heating system. Run off the boilers that are on the second floor. the maintenance area in the rear. So the wash bay and the mechanics bay included radiant floor heating. So the concrete floor will be heated. In the wash bay, that's essential. So in the winter, when the truck's going in there, being washed, it doesn't become icy underneath foot. And within the mechanics bay, it's definitely better for the mechanic to be able to work on a heated surface rather than cold concrete floor. The center section, we did have an alternate bid within the project to do radiant floor heating within the center section. That came in at about $240,000. I didn't see the value in adding that into the project at this time to do radiant floor heating in the center section. That's more an area that's going to be truck storage that will have hydronic overhead heating for that area. One upgrade that we have on this building is a fast-acting garage door. It's the same type that they've been installing on some of the fire stations around. I know Flint Fire Station has them, Globe Fire Station has them, and they're a fast-acting door, so they go up very quickly and down very quickly. That's for energy conservation. You know, if you're standing there waiting for the garage door, 15 seconds for the garage door to go up, truck out and everything, then it takes a while for it to close. They found that cost savings of energy conservation for that door being able to go up within a couple of seconds, drive out, down within a couple of seconds. That energy savings is worth the additional cost of the doors.
On that point, Mr. Ferlin, if someone were to stand under that door as it is coming down, does the door stop?
Yeah, so within that door, there's all safety precautions. When we get into specifics on once the cut sheets are developed, it'll be made sure that it has all the safety precautions. Typically, they have an air crush pad on the bottom to make sure that it doesn't crush onto anything. There's typically eyes to make sure there's nothing in the way on the ground. So we'll make sure that all those safety protocols are in place.
Now, outside the doors, are we going with the large yellow upright cement pillars that we normally see?
Yeah, so around all the doors and the pillars on the overhang, there will be bollards there to protect it, so vehicles will not strike the building. Well, we'll do everything to prevent vehicles from striking the building. That's one thing that I've really instilled in the guys. This is a huge expense to the department and to the city and the ratepayers. The building that we currently have constructed in the 1930s, and it served its purpose, but it's definitely time for an upgrade. Excuse me.
The old building was shortly after Horse and Wagon, so.
Yeah, it's definitely served its purpose. Again, when we looked at it to revamp that building, it would have been very tough to functionally make it work for the programming that we do now compared to the past.
I honestly can't imagine the rehabilitation of that existing building. It has outserved its usefulness. The city got its money's worth out of that one. If I'm not mistaken, that building was originally coal-fired.
Yeah, so the original boilers in the basement, without a doubt, they were coal-fired. They have the chute that went into the
Been in the basement for coal.
Yeah, so that building has definitely served its purpose over time. And with this new building coming online, we're planning to have dedicated, not a dedicated, but somebody that's going to do janitorial services to maintain the building, to keep up this new building. That's something that I'm not going to stand behind an investment like this without making sure that we have the infrastructure and the ability in place to maintain it, because
it's long overdue, Paul.
Paul, just so that the general public is aware, this building is fully handicapped accessible?
Yeah, so all the areas that need to be handicapped accessible are handicapped accessible, all the public access areas. The second floor currently doesn't have any programming space in there, but we did put in a closet that would be able to occupy a chairlift in the future to take people from the first floor to the second floor if we do program the second floor where ADA access is needed.
That could come in very handy in the future. I only bring these questions up, I know they seem a little bit redundant, but just for the edification of the general public.
No, without a doubt, this is a large project. It's a lot, and any questions, we had multiple public meetings with the neighbors of the area, and got their feedback a couple of times. And it helped us develop the plan to the plans that we put out to bid.
Has there been ongoing discussions with Diamond as to the use of the property?
So I have made Diamond aware to the use of the property. They are aware of the facility that they're building. Diamond is working with MSBA on developing a new building. I was actually at the presentation of
That's why I brought it up.
new building design a couple of weeks ago. And it looks like the option that they're leaning towards or feeling is going to be most viable for them now is to head towards the fields in the back. So multi-level structure that uses the advantage of the grade difference from the fields to the back parking lot, and use that to their advantage during the construction of their school.
So that would,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
excuse me, that would allow the department to retain land to the Diamond side.
Yeah, so Diamond did, when they were first looking at their constructions, Diamond did ask to meet with me. I did meet with them. I explained our plans for our facilities, and we did. They were looking to see what we were doing with the land and whether it would be usable for their project, but it wasn't.
Paul, my only question to you is, as things go along, I know there'll be some changes as there was to the current Durfee High School some 49 years ago. If those happen, would you please keep the board informed?
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept the report?
So it would be motion.
I would make a motion to accept, excuse me,
Oh, go ahead.
to accept the bid of Mill City at $8,141,715.
The chair would second the motion with reluctance only because of the amount, but I'll have to lean on Mr. Ferlin for his input on that. And I would second that motion. Commissioner Ferraro, we haven't heard from you. Do you have any comments, please?
No, I was at the initial presentation. I think that the existing building that we have is far beyond what I would consider acceptable standards for us to be working out of. I don't think any of us.
I don't think any of us would want to work in that building, no.
I wouldn't go that far. If need be, yours truly would work in there if necessary. But I think it's time for an update. It's been time for an update. It was time for an update when I started on the board umpteen years ago, and we talked about doing some minor renovations with Mr. Sullivan, and even putting off those minor renovations 15 years ago, with the hopes that we wouldn't spend the money twice, and instead of spending $15,000 or $20,000 at the time, we knew that we were going to be in the planning phases for a new facility within the next 10 to 12 years. Maybe it was a little longer than that, but I think that the building that is there has far outlived its life expectancy. We need something up to date so that we can work efficiently, correctly, get the maximum longevity out of the equipment that that we have there. I don't think any of us wants to spend $8 million. If we could get it for $6 million, that would be great. But I think it would also be short-sighted to try and nip at budget items to try and get us back to that back to that $6 million figure. Like I said, I hate to hate to pay it, but sometimes you got to pay it to have nice stuff. So I would definitely be supporting awarding the contract and get a shovel in the ground and get things moving there. It seems like I still the plans that Paul is showing now are actually are still at my desk. I think if I don't move them twice a week, I don't move them at all. I'm very much looking forward to seeing a new building there. So
I would agree with you,
the board
Commissioner.
definitely does have my support in regards to getting things started here.
I would agree with you, and I'll only say that, yes, I would like to see it for 6.5 or 7 even, but if we were to delay it for 6 months, a year.
I
God knows
think
what
it would only
happens
be
before.
worse. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
who knows what cost would occur? And, every time a contractor steps on the site, they look to make more profit. And I hope this all works out. With that being said, is there a motion? I believe there is.
Yep. so
There is a motion and a second.
Correct.
Roll call, Mr. Furlan?
President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrer,
Technically, but yes.
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, board members.
Furlan, next item on the agenda, please.
Next item on the agenda is item number 8. If the board feels to lift it from the table, open meeting law determination that was tabled at the last meeting. We'd like the motion to lift from the table if not so desired.
I would make that motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call on the motion, Mr. Furlan?
President Pearson, this is a
Yes.
motion to lift from the table.
Yes.
Member Ferrer,
Yeah.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
So at the last meeting, there was an open meeting law complaint determination that was issued from the Attorney General. I believe most of the members had a chance to go through it. There was a determination that the board members do a comprehensive open meeting law training within 60 days of receipt of this letter. I believe most of the board members did do that. I did it myself. So if we'd like to, and the certificates were sent up to the Attorney General's office. If there's any questions or discussions that the board has on this item.
Mr. Furlan, I'm going to make a comment as to the open meeting law violations to the edification of Mr. Terrio. While you've been here for years, but most recently activated as of yesterday, these violations are across the board throughout City Hall. They're unavoidable, but we have a good working relationship with the Attorney General's office. I offer that to you just as edification. Mr. Furlan?
Yeah, so again, if the board so determines, I would recommend just taking this in place and get on file.
President will make a motion to take this and place it on file.
Second.
Motion
Motion
to
passes unanimous.
place on file, President Pearson,
Yes.
Member Ferrer,
Yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Furlong, we still have the building up on the screen.
Oop, I apologize for that. I'll actually stop sharing as we don't have many other things ongoing. Item number 9 on the agenda would be updates of ongoing projects. Currently, the contractor that's doing the phase 19 water main replacement will be starting up within the next couple of weeks. Other than that, currently we don't have any major ongoing projects. Next item on the agenda would be item number 10, other potential matters. If any board members have other potential matters that was not known prior to the making of this agenda, please feel free to state it at that time.
Mr. Furlong, is this taking the place of old business on the agenda?
This is taking the place of other business, yes. Based on some determinations that I read, I feel that this better suits the open meeting law, other potential matters.
Very well, thank you.
So just one thing, I would like to publicly thank Mr. Pennell for serving on the water board for the years that he did. His service was invaluable to the water department, and I would like to thank him. I know he was his service isn't on the water board anymore, but it was very nice working with him for the time that he was on the board.
Paul, can we send a letter to that effect to him from the board?
Yes, not a problem.
If my signature is required, please make sure I know about it. And I thank you for your comment.
I'll draft something up.
Next item on the agenda,
That completes all items on the agenda.
does anybody have any comments or suggestions? Hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second,
Motion passes unanimously. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Furlong.
Roll call vote on adjourning. President Pearson,
Yes,
Member Ferrera,
yes.
Member Terrio.
Yes.
Excellent. 4:58, the water board adjourned.